is doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And then you look at me and you say, and I don't like it. I can feel the reaction. I just don't like what that person is doing, shouting at their child or whatever it is. You see, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say to me, why don't you like it? And then I'll say, because the way it makes me feel. It makes me angry. And then you'll say to me, well, isn't that personal, how you're feeling? You see what I mean? And yes, it reminds me of how I'd like to be treated. Right. You see, everything that we experience seemingly outside is really in us, and it's called reaction.
And it's a reaction to something that's against love, or the way it should be, right?
That's right.
And that's
Very
why
good.
that's why
that's
we
right.
react the way we
react. It defeats the meaning and the love that we really are. Right. So therefore we feel that it's wrong. But at this point you say to me, well, experience it as it is right now, so that we really see if what is happening is bad or whatever.
Okay.
You know? So I say, okay, how do I experience it as it is? And you say to me, well, feel the emotion, but not the reaction of your interpretation. In other words, instead of making it wrong or right, get in touch with how your body was feeling in reaction to that. So again, I was feeling that turmoil going inside.
Yeah.
And by feeling the feeling alone as a sensation without the interpretation or the reaction paying attention to that, something else takes over. Okay, we begin to see that the action itself of the motion of energy is itself neutral. It was never good or bad. It was only the interpretation that I gave it that made it good or bad. So when I reach that point, which is already quite advanced, and most people who are quite intelligent and aware are able to do this, the moment you reach that neutral stage, you have entered another level. It's called inner silence. Because when it becomes neutral, you're no longer interpreting. You're no longer imaging one way or the other, you see. So then something takes over in you. And it's almost like knowledge coming to you that, hey, I was feeling that because I was seeking that. I am seeking, right now I'm not feeling love. I'm feeling rejected. I'm feeling like it has no meaning to do this. How horrible. So I'm feeling love and meaning, but it's hurting me that the love and meaning I want is not being addressed, is not being experienced. Because that's what I want. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, it's proof that everything's connected.
Right, everything is connected.
Yeah.
So when I reach the neutral stage, love and meaning becomes very pronounced in me, that this is all I'm seeking. And so that in itself tells me that this is all I ever want or need. You see, now when I talk about love, of course, we're embodying all love-oriented feelings, you know. Silence, beauty, glory, gratitude.
Yes, of course.
All of them are combined, you see. And meaning means a lot to me. It means a lot. You see, it gives life. It gives life again the gratitude to be alive. Because when you see, someone said, "How do you feel alive?" And it said, the only way to feel alive is to feel alive.
And that's feeling.
And that's feeling.
Now you said just now that, you come to this neutral state. Most people can do that. But they can do that mentally, right? But that's not good enough. Because it's one thing to
you have to feel it.
You
cannot do it mentally. Because when you do it mentally, you're still stuck in interpretation.
That's right. So you see, even no matter how much you say, well, there's no right and wrong, you really have to feel it.
You have to feel it that it's neutral. Yeah. But the only way to realize that it's neutral, not to try to make it neutral, it becomes neutral when you stay only with the motion of energy in the body. If you're trembling, there is trembling taking place. Yeah. Oh, isn't that interesting? Don't make it bad. Right. Don't say, oh my God, I'm going to die, I'm sick. Right. For a moment, just for a moment, watch the trembling.
And that resolves.
And that becomes there. That's right.
How does acceptance enter into this?
Totally.
It's the same thing. Feeling the feeling.
Feeling the feeling, a total acceptance. Yes.
Or the person could just say.
Yeah. The only
I
thing
accept.
about acceptance is this: that it's good to repeat it. I accept myself, and repeat it over enough. It will start to become more a part of you. But the point of acceptance is that you don't really accept yourself. See, what happens is just like forgiveness. Somebody asks, well, how do you forgive yourself?
Yeah, it's
you
hard.
See, it's very, very hard, because forgiveness is not something you do. Forgiveness, reaching a point where you see nothing is actually happening. It was just an interpretation that I made because it hurt me personally and how I felt about it. And it was damaging my meaning and love. You see? So when I begin to understand it, I say, but there's nothing to forgive. That's forgiveness. And the same way with acceptance. For example, okay, let's talk acceptance when there's no one to accept. You bring up children. And your children are Asian. Okay, let's assume they are Asian. And they are playing with black people.
Yeah.
Okay, and you say, no, we don't associate. You tell your children, and this is not true.
I know. Yeah.
This is I'm making it up for acceptance. Okay, so therefore you say to your children, you don't associate with black people.
So that's not acceptance.
That's not accept.
Yeah.
That's non-acceptance.
Of course.
But the child, your son, which of course is brought up with your love and everything else, looks at you kind of quizzical.
Yeah.
But he's my friend. What difference does it make, you see? And even though you tell him not to do it, he loves his black friend so much that he goes and plays with him anyway, because he doesn't see any difference.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's acceptance.
On whose part?
On the child.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's up to me to accept.
And then it's up to you to see that your child is being a little wiser than you
are.
and you learn from the child. I want to be like the child, innocent and
Beautiful.
accepting, right?
Is acceptance another way of feeling the feeling?
Acceptance and feeling the feeling is one and the same thing.
Same thing. Okay, good.
Same thing, yeah. But I'd like to, instead of, somehow there's a connotation with acceptance as something to do. It's the same way when the Course in Miracles talked about forgiveness, people thought, I must forgive. And then they said, oh, but I can't. You see, not realizing that the moment you look at something directly as it is and become intimate, becomes forgiveness itself.
Okay.
So it's not something that you do, it's something that you begin to see. The moment you are able to reach the neutral state. The neutral state is a silence within, where there is no interpretation, where there's no polarity, good or bad, right or wrong. There's only just what is. Well, the moment you allow yourself to be with what is as it is, which is neutral, neither this nor that, which means you have gone beyond the personal, beyond the mind, then there's a deeper thing that happens in you. You see, the I am of you, the reality of you, the unification, the unified feel that you really are is beginning to be felt. Oh, I am love and I am meaning.
So really, it's something you don't do. Like you said in an article.
It is not something you do. It is something you allow.
You don't interpret. You don't label. Just leave it.
Just leave it. Yeah. You don't try not to interpret, not to label.
Yeah. You just leave it.
Just leave it and focus on what is happening. What is happening in the body, motion of energy. Yeah.
Now, when you have a bad thought that you can't get rid of, that's also happening in the body, right?
That's also happening in the body, because all thoughts affect the body.
Okay, so how do you tackle the mental aspect, the thoughts?
Right. The mental aspect, first of all, there is very little difference between mind and body. Okay? So whenever you think a thought, if you believe it, it becomes a feeling immediately. You know, I don't like that person, it's a thought. A judgment is a thought. You see, comparison is a thought. Yeah. Trying to analyze something to death. I wonder how it is. It's
a lot of thoughts.
It's a lot of thoughts.
No, I know people who just go on and on.
Right. So what you do to quiet the mind is not to try to quiet the mind.